All right, it looks like we're going to be finally getting into the action. We already saw the opening break-off, but we're going to see it again this time. RIT Black versus Rutgers, hopefully for the reals this time.
On the for real.
Absolutely.
Gotta get it going. So that host is just a slight bit better, as you're going to see again. The same kind of setup. Song's moving through the inner side of the U, but a lot of trades actually favor the side of Rutgers, although as I say that, of course, a team kill does come through for RIT Black, and looks like the numbers will actually favor that. Well, as I say that, another beatdown comes through. So Rutgers will take early control here. And again, that Song gameplay that we were talking about that's so pivotal early on, it's actually the ICR coming in for IRT Black that actually is able to lock down the point, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, we see a lot of shot punches already occurring within this ring area, but it does look like Rutgers is going to be controlling the ring just for now. TD Runner is going to try to push into no avail, and it looks like Rutgers is going to have the initial control of this hill.
You like to see it, and yeah, all players are in there. The spawn is actually coming out over on the outer side ledge, and that's going to actually open up the rotation to kind of just fall back, and without even pushing through whatsoever, Rutgers has got all the control on the point and has actually found themselves a spawn control for the second in this inner lights area. Concussion coming through, but not able to find anything on the stun, and the Sogs, they're going to be able to hold down this inner area, and look at this, the challenge comes through very quickly, although, ooh, not able to quite find it. A little bit of a turn on right there, as it will be RIT Black with the potential to come through.
And Shuby's on a 2-streak right now. He's really made some good kills in this lights area. There's going to be one behind him. He's trying to shoot, but all of Rutgers is going to be there. And it's going to be on Taranchi. He's got a 1v2 situation. He's going to find one, not able to find the second.
And again, this is just the big control when it comes down to if you're able to find that spawn control, you can get back quicker, you can continue to have these trades going in your favor, and even if it comes down to a last 1v1, you're just going to get there faster. RIT Black, though, will actually be able to swing things through, but there's just not really all that much time here. So it looks like one more challenge from Rutgers, trying to get a little bit of scrap time, and you can already see it's just going to be a rotate back on over for Blue.
Yeah, we're already seeing number 9 Palma. He's already working his way towards these back spawns. TD Runner's trying to push through his ring area, but Rutgers is already set up for this next hill.
Love to see it, and now it's just going to come down to can you find the opening frags, and it looks like there will be one automatics coming through, but oh my goodness, you got to find this one in the hallway. They will. Oh my god, this is going to be a big opportunity coming through. One more shot, but no, from the platform, the return comes back in for Rutgers, but again, they're spawning out, and actually it's a little bit of a split spawn here, as you're going to see the Saw gameplay trying to move on through the platform area, but RIT Black, now it's their time to just sustain this push and try to get as much time as possible, but it's not going to last for that long. Rutgers able to retake.
Yeah, Rutgers finds a couple of key sets of kills, killing the players in the hill, and able to hold on just for a little bit.
Look at the lead, it's just growing at the moment for Rutgers. All these fights, and this is what you like to have to see for Rutgers. I mean, you have 3 people on point. The other 2 just kind of get a little bit more exploratory with their play, try to find some wins over the middle, and just let your 2 Sog players and Maddox players just kind of float and just be flexes. And yeah, there will be a 40-point lead. A little bit of scrap time here being contested, but you can already see the minimap. All of this middle control is all going the way of Rutgers. There's only one player from RIT Black sitting in that lower ledge, although he will win that gunfight. A pivotal one at that, as it will just be an opening break for RIT, depending on what happens with the Saw gameplay coming through. You can see that Maddox is being held in the long angle. It just comes down to, can you find these kills lower pipes? Double challenge, and Rutgers, they'll be able to get themselves a lot of early control here on this lower hard point.
Yeah, Ignite Lou going big for his team, finding a couple inside the opposing team's slot. He's going to find a third. He's on a 4-streak right now. Only 300 off his lightning strike.
That's not bad. I mean, do you want to see that early streak control? I mean, we're getting close to specialists. You already see a couple of grab slams being relatively close, at least for the side of Rutgers, we're seeing one. And all these kills that are being traded back and forth, again, just continue to favor the lead of Rutgers, who continue to swarm in from the upper middle. And I talked about that at the beginning of the match here, J-Bro. It's just the simple fact that if you can hold that top upper ledge, you can get that middle control, you're going to be putting yourself in a pretty favorable spot to continue to contest for as long as possible.
Yeah, and Ignite Lou, we highlighted him earlier. He's going to find both his lightning strike and his Hellstorms, looking for another.
Oh, no.
He finds his Sniper's Nest. Ignite Lou is on an absolute tear right now on his 6th spree with full streaks. But Palmer on the other side has also been able to pick up his streaks. So that's 3 streaks on the side of Rutgers.
I love the call of the Sniper's Nest here, J-Pro. I mean, this is going to be such a great hard point for it. All the rotations are going to be coming from a very open and exposed area onto this outer ledge. This Sniper's Nest can be absolutely devastating. Yeah, Ignite is so close to that Annihilator as well. Would love to see him pop it, and he will actually find himself 2 kills on the back end, just locking down the long angle. Those are tough shots, looking for a little bit of a quick scope ADS, and he'll likely miss most of those. But he's still got plenty of streaks to play with. The big key is the fact that we're looking at 157 to 37 score here as we are getting through our second rotation.
Absolutely, we're already seeing the Sniper's Nest doing work. He's going to find another Sniper's Nest. Can nobody stop this man? I say that as soon as he gets taken down. That's unfortunate. But we're already seeing Rutgers already on the rotation. There's only 20 seconds left. They don't really care about that with a 120-point lead. They're going to give it up, and they're just going to go for the rotation.
This Lou kid's an absolute unit, just flat out. I mean, he's won how many gunfights in a row at long, short, and medium range? I mean, what can't he do? At the moment, Rutgers Black is not able to do absolutely anything. Tech 5 gets popped for Rutgers, so again, just using that extra HP to lock down these longer lines of sights. We do have a grab slam as well for Rutgers, and for this point, you know, RIT Black, they've put their Tech 5 invested as well, but the sniper stats continues to just absolutely pop off, looking like an absolute phenom, putting a montage from the sky, and this is just not looking good for RIT Black. They need to find a way to get these specialists to string together a couple of hard points if they want to have a chance.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, what are you going to say about Ignite Lou? He's already got full streaks again to use. Even though RIT Black does have the hill for the time being, they're down by such a massive deficit, they almost need to play some perfect hard points to try to get back into this one.
Yeah, we're getting close to that 200 mark, and the spawns, although they do favor RIT Black, they're coming in one by one. And as you look at it, you know, if you're a team out there kind of looking at this situation, you've got spawns, you're dealing with essentially 4 players on the hard point, at least at one point in time. The scrap time will go in favor of RIT Black, but you got to just keep one player here. The rest just have to push forward, and you can already see Rutgers have 3 players clearing out that back spawn. They want to set themselves up for potentially putting themselves within the win with the 2 hard points. And again, the Sog's flying over the middle. J-Pro, this is just perfect gameplay so far for Rutgers.
Yeah, right now we're seeing them pushing for the early rotations. They're getting an absolutely great setup, and RIT just isn't able to break it.
Man, this is tough. You got a War Machine on board. You've got almost halfway to another Annihilator. And for RIT Black, there's nothing. The War Machine's close, but again, the Hellstorm's coming out. There's still Lightning Strikes available. This is looking absolutely catastrophic for RIT Black. You need to find a way to just win a couple isolated gunfights, get yourself in a position to come through. But when you're losing long-range gunfights against a SOG, that just is so demoralizing as we see Rutgers getting above 206 on the score.
With about 20 seconds left here, RIT Black really needs to try to pull this game back together. A couple of kills do go in their favor, however, and they do have the preferred spawns. But there's only going to be about 20 seconds left for them to try to hold on here.
It's marginal time at this point, and you have to figure if, you know, you're RIT Black, you have to be thinking that Rutgers is going to be playing the rotation game. They want to find the kills over the middle, get themselves the early control. If they can just find, at this point, 40 seconds per hill, they're going to be in the win without much condition of having anything go in favor of RIT Black. So you got to think you just got to get into the hill, find your way to get a couple opening picks, and get yourself a potential to kind of swing together a couple of points. The gap is closing, you know, we're a little bit underneath the 100-point mark, but you can't be throwing concussions, especially when you can already see the trophy right in front of you, my man.
Agreed, especially with 2 players that had streaks. They called them in on this hill. Even if Rutgers didn't get the initial break, or they still had the streaks in their back pocket to use it, and it looks like they're going to get... I say that Ashubi's going to pick up a bunch of kills with the War Machine.
That's the kind of play you need, though. You need to find somebody to step up, use the specialist, get yourself an opportunity. Now they have control of the middle, but again, you have to hold angles. You can't just go in there blindly. 136 and counting up, but the kills are trading back and forth, so Rutgers maybe putting one more contest at this, although as I say that, it looks like they're just happy to let them have the last 15 seconds or so, and all 5 players just sitting up on that outer ring.
Yeah, all 5 players already have the rotation. It looks like 3 players are going to try to be pushing towards the ring area for RIT Black. They do find 2 kills, but Rutgers answers back with 2 of their own.
We still have a War Machine available, I mean, for the side of Rutgers, so there's still a lot of win condition, even if this were to start to get a little bit closer. I mean, we're down to about 70 points in between the 2 squads, and you can already see it's just a lot of control happening over the middle. That's what happens when you set up early. You can play a little bit more passively, let the team come into you, and without having one over the middle whatsoever for RIT Black, it's just Rutgers trading out lives on point, and all of that results in favorable time towards the scoreboard.
Yeah, and RIT Black's going to have a big comeback here, having to push down these narrow sight lines. Ari gonna find a bunch with the War Machine. That's the power of those specialists when used correctly, especially with these narrow sight lines such as this.
Yeah, and you know, as we'll talk about here in a second as we get to 250 to 151, I believe it was, as again, Rutgers looking solid to start things off. But you know, there are a number of things that when you look at the teams that we saw from the PLQ, that's like, all right, these guys are super game aware, and it comes down to, can you pull out things like Flak Jacket at the proper. In that instance, obviously, we did not get that happening, as it was 4 kills coming out for Rutgers just to close things off. But those little things that we don't really get threads of throughout most of what we spectate, those are huge moments when you have somebody who's in your comms saying, hey, he's at this score, he's likely got another score streak going on, or he's likely got another War Machine, we need to switch to Flak Jacket. Those moments are big, and right there you see just how instantly things can be closed out by the War Machine. Just 4 kills, game over.
Yeah, I think the specialist usage was incredibly well done on the side of Rutgers. We take a look at the after action report. Ignite Lou, 42 and 20 with 6,400 damage. Absolute unit on the map. I don't know what else you can say about that. It seemed like for a while nobody could even touch him on the map. His Matic shot and his Sog shot were just incredible for most of that first map.
Yeah, I mean, it was the last hard point of the first rotation. Going into the second, he was just playing underneath the ladders, under the pipes, just getting a lot of objective EKIA. It turned into a couple things going in his favor for score streaks, and from there, it was just all gas. The fuel just set on fire, and he just won all those fights over the middle, trying to set things up for the second rotation. Those are big moments. I mean, you see things like that, and you think, all right, this guy's got star potential for this squad. Who from RIT Black is able to take that challenge? Who can find that mid-short range gunfight and shut a guy like that down? You cannot let somebody overlap streaks like that. That's just absolutely insane to see. And you have to think at that point, it's just him finding isolated gunfights one after another. You need to set up a double challenge, a little bait and switch, something like that to shut a guy like that down.
Yeah, I mean, I think it started snowballing as soon as Ignite Lou was able to pick up 2 sets of streaks.
Oh, absolutely.
That's Sniper's Nest putting in a lot of work. I think was able to pick up 3 or 4 kills when it came down to that match. But overall, Rutgers just with incredible slaying power in that situation.
And those are things to look at when you go into the S&D. When you have somebody who can be the clutch factor that can win out isolated gunfights, that matters that much more when you don't have a respawn available to you. So if he's able to go off like that again, winning these isolated gunfights, we could very well see a pretty snowballing S&D. But that being said, RIT Black did put up a pretty valiant effort near the end there. They started playing a little bit more calm and controlled. The comeback was at least hinted like this could happen. It was it would have been a stretch. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But the fact of the matter was they were starting to piece together a couple of solid hard points. So maybe a little bit of momentum there. They've maybe figured things out as far as how they're playing the control side of things. Maybe we'll start to see a little bit more composure out of them in Search and Destroy.
Absolutely. At the end there, they were able to make Rutgers spend all their streaks. They had specialists coming up, especially the Annihilator, which could be a big one for them. Just a little bit longer of a contest, and maybe RIT Black makes the comeback. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. Anything could happen. We've seen crazier things with Hardpoint when it comes to this Call of Duty, so you can never rule anybody out if we've learned our lesson from watching the PLQ especially.
Yeah. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. We're going to have a Frequency S&D. Don't go anywhere. And we're going to be kicking off this S&D with RIT Black. Coming off a little bit of a, I don't know if I'd say, oh, never mind. It looks like everybody's in the lobby. You think it's time to go, but...
You know, I'll say this, J-Pro. I really do wish, and I'll just say it because, you know, what harm will it come? I say that now. I really wish there was a little bit clearer which you started off on, defense or offense, because that's typically why we get these restarts. And typically you think, all right, blue is defense, red is offense. That's not always the case. Even I'm still a little bit lost on which side you start off of, depending on where you are in the lobby.
Yeah, sometimes I think we're on one side in a GB and then we're on the other. I'm not really sure, but looks like a player was not actually ready at the moment, so we're going to switch back to the desk for just a half second. But you already heard a little bit about what your thoughts were on that first hard point, but what do you think RIT needs to do in this S&D to, take out over Rutgers?
I mean, first impressions are this, J-Pro. The SOG gameplay was just not quite at the level that Rutgers has to go off of. And this is an S&D where it's not just, all right, everybody play Maddoxes and ICRs. There are a lot of tight corridors that are pivotal for rotation, so the SOGs can come into play. You're specifically looking at that kind of interconnector by the ring area, and then you also are looking at underneath by ladders. Those are all very open spots where it comes down to SOGs being rushed in and trying to find those opening kills. So when it comes down for me, I just want to see them play a little bit slower, I think. Maybe you train in a couple more of those Maddoxes, try to punish some of the possible overextensions that we could potentially see from aggressive players like Lou, who obviously just popped off and that was successful for him. But for me, it comes down to, do they have somebody that can really anchor down one side of the map? Can they put somebody just solo guarding the outside ledges with an ICR, or potentially even down by B with a Paladin, just to solo play a site so that way you can find an advantage somewhere else? It takes a lot of discipline, a lot of patience, and a lot of accuracy to pull something like that off, but if they have it in their kit, It very well could be what they need to get this thing moving in their favor.
Yeah, and we're actually, I believe, in the lobby. RIT is going to be on the defensive side. We're going to kick it off here with Rob. Having an okay map 1, but I want to see if the ICR for RIT is going to be able to step it up.
Yeah, and for me, it just comes down to can he play that angle? And he is out there by himself, so this is an opportunity, I think, for them to really rotate around the map with the other 4 players, as we did have First Blood favoring RIT Black coming over the middle portion of the map. So with Lou trying to poke here with an ICR, he's actually getting poked out really hard, but punished. A little bit of a bait and switch there as the SOG gameplay is just, again, so strong for this squad as they're able to find a little bit of a rotation kill, and all of a sudden, we're left with a 3-on-3.
And Ari is just barely going to get out with their life. Lou be able to go for the bait and switch there. And it's going to be a 3v2, make it a 3v1 situation.
Tagged up, though. I mean, opportunity. Obviously, the information is gained, and you don't expect them to last for all that much longer. So it'll be the first round going the way of the Big Ten squad of the Scarlet Knights out of Rutgers University. And those New Jersey boys looking solid so far.
Yeah, an interesting take right now coming out from Lund. I didn't see him run the ICR on the first map, but it looks like he's going to opt to during the S&D. Do you think that's just like a playstyle changeup, or do you think it's more of just a strategy for the squad?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's totally necessary in one way or the other. You see Lou in this instance is obviously using it from window to window, trying to win that early gunfight, obviously feeling really confident in his gun skills when it comes to peeking that window so aggressively, but again, able to just switch back over to the Mozu. I mean, with the Mozu being as strong as it is, you do get a little bit of a, flexibility when it comes down to, I'm in a close range gunfight, let me just pull out the pistol and you're good to go. So I think you're going to see some of that aggression like we saw right there, him able to pop through no problem.
Now, it looks like RIT has already pushed out Rain. There's going to be one player in the back just sitting there flat.
An easy opening First Blood as well, and able to find a second on top of it, make that a third. Goodness gracious, Rutgers able to find themselves in a 5-on-2 situation. They've already trapped in one of the last players at least, and Roberto trying to find his way in, but he's got an ICR. That's not typically a gunfight that you win, and the SOG will come out on top once again. A pretty clean defensive round for Rutgers.
One thing I've noticed with a lot of these SOG players now is the addition of Stock 2 to Black Ops 4. That strafe speed so incredibly fast and make it that much harder for close-range assault rifles to take you down.
Yeah, put them on skates, right? I mean, you just move so quickly, and very often you just kind of don't expect it is the bigger thing, especially if you're rocking an ICR. I mean, the gunfight up close is already hard enough, but you're trying to trade in that aim assist lock while someone's just skating back and forth on you. It's definitely very difficult to pull off.
And one thing I want to note, Palma and Lou are already halfway to their specialists in round 3, so they keep playing at the pace they're going. 4-0 for Ignite Lou.
The guy's actually a straight unit, flat out, able to get himself going really strong. And again, these early specialists, these early rounds, yeah, they're important, but even more important, even if you do find yourself down 2-0, if they're close rounds, you're finding eliminations from the side of RIT Black, you can start building up towards potential specialists, but we have none of that at all. The closest one to it is Bear Paws, and he's struggling a little bit to get himself going. Now, finally, though, we have an odd man situation favoring RIT Black, a 4-on-1, which will leave things just to Ari, and he's got no chance. Too much of a contest coming through. So, again, now we're looking at a 2-1. 4 players survive. You're going to hold the time for as long as possible, well, you would think, to try to build up towards these specialists. And, well, at least for Shuby, he's got himself close to a war machine, and with that defuse, he's inching ever near closer. We could very well see this game come right on back with 2 straight rounds for RIT Black.
Yeah, that was a great round coming out of RIT Black, able to shut down the other team from potentially getting streaks and stopping what could have been another dominant round and getting closer to those specialists right there. Really great plays coming out of RIT Black, just holding this top middle area, preventing them from being able to cross the bomb. Good plays from RIT Black.
And I hate to hit it so hard, but this is obviously the second time we've seen Frequency. And that spot right there, that rotation spot where you can look at everything from upper ledge in the middle, it's so crucial. And the fact that RIT Black was able to have it for free, well, you'll take that every day of the week, including Sunday if you're RIT Black, and they made full use there, finding 2 kills to be able to lock down B.
Looks like RIT Black is going to opt to hit towards this B site. Looks like that's what all the teams have been deciding to do so far on this map.
But again, where's the help over the middle? Okay, there we go. The Maddox able to find through. I was going to say there's no one from the window side by the looks of it by the mini-map for RIT Black. It was that Maddox sitting over in the underneath light. So again, this is a clutch lock, and now all you have to worry about is someone on your close left, and of course anyone who happened to push through the middle and got themselves in ladders. But I like this little flip-flop. So it's a 5-on-4. You know there's a lot of focus happening towards B. Let's just go ahead and swing the map, go towards A, and I like the pick a lot. They found themselves 2 kills, though. A little bit of an unfortunate slip and fall there, but still, numbers favoring a 4-on-1 situation. Last player is going to be scouted out. The information's good. It just comes down to finding a chance to double chow.
Yeah, he's going to find one. He reads the second play, but he runs out of ammo. Going to use this bomb site just for a little bit of cover. He knows they're going to be pushing him. Robster with the ICR. Going to gut him off the bomb site.
I like it. A really good play for RIT Black. Good call. You find the opening pick. You have a lot of information from your player rotating over the middle. You're able to get yourself into a position to kind of play off of rotations. They get one, they switch, they flip the map completely around. Your player in the middle finds another, and all of a sudden it's a 5-on-3. All you have to do is take care of one more. You'll take that every day.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. Now, unfortunate that the player for Rutgers does make the correct read, but just runs out of ammo. Maybe makes that a 1v1 situation.
Yeah. Tough situation. Again, we heard it so often from the casters in the PLQ that you rarely see 1v3s going in favor of the solo player. It's just so hard to do because of a number of factors. A, being the fact that you're likely getting double challenged, but beyond that, you're also looking at a situation where you just don't have the ammo to take down 3 straight, as opening first blood will go to Rutgers this round here in round 5.
Ignite lose, gonna find 2 early on. It's already a 5v3 scenario for Rutgers. But TD Runner gonna find an easy kill in the bottom, not able to make the jump up, and Rutgers gonna capitalize on that one.
And again, this is all these frags happening over the middle portion of the map is so big. Clutch and able to try to open up this thing, some space over by the window of the defense. And now you've got a situation where you're looking at RA trying to push through. The bomb's being planted at B. He's got a good cover, and they've got numbers as well. 3-on-1 as you take a look trying to clutch things out. Bearpaw's in a really tough situation. He does have attack 5. You don't imagine he'll use it here unless he gets himself in a 1v1 potentially, but not winning that first gunfight. Information just gained for Rutgers, and now it's just going to be an easy challenge. No chance there, unfortunately, but if you get that opening pick, you get that guy who's sitting in ladders, definitely an opportunity to try to swing things around, but no such luck here in round 5.
Yeah, he makes the right read that the pressure's going to be coming in, but unfortunately just not able to win that gunfight. See some nice shots coming out of blue. Gonna find 2 at the very beginning.
Again, just winning that middle gunfight. And the thing about it is that he not just only wins that gunfight there, but you saw immediately after, I can't remember who it was, but there was a SOG that pushed right on into the underneath area, again, in that ladders area, which allowed them to find opening control into B. And it's just, little battles can mean so much. We don't see it really kind of fully emphasized in the live event of it because it happens so quickly, but every little inch does matter a lot, especially on a map like Frequency where you have this higher to lower ground. And you see Bearpaws with attack 5 wants to get aggressive, will find the opening shots with the SOG, and no response as far as what Rutgers has to offer. The 200 HP combined for each player, just a little bit too much to deal with when it comes to the aggression, and Bearpaws will set up a really nice pitch here if he can find this opening fight on the Lou. He will be scouted out, sitting near the overgrowth side of things, switching to the Mozu, but just not the rate of fire he needs, and we're looking at a 3-on-1, pardon me, as it's just going to be down to our last player, Indian Gamer.
Yeah, and right now is a tough situation for him. 1v3, doesn't have any specialties. He is going to find a free kill in Lights, however, at least I think it's a free kill, and he's going to get traded out by Bearpaws. Movement right there, just enough to get that guy out of harm's way.
Attack 5 came in play, full effectiveness, get yourself the round win with players up at the end. That's the other thing too, it's not the fact that they just win the round, that there's players that survived and got themselves involved in the kill feed. So you're looking at those specialists going that much more further, as we'll see this last play once again, just nice shots over the top, again able to lock things down. It's so crucial. Pneumatics at that range, that thing will sing for you for sure.
Yeah, we're all tied up going into round number 7 as we look at the specialist progression. The only one I see that's really close is the Indian Gamer. He's close to that Tempest. I know we talked about a little bit before that Recon versus Prophet pick.
Yeah.
And S&T, do you think Prophet's the correct pick, or would you rather have like a Recon for a clutch situation?
It's tough to say, really. I mean, you're only going to get that vision pulse likely when you get to round 9 and above, just because of how slow it is, unless you're absolutely a monster and you're fragging out with it. But typically that's going to go to your ICR player or your long-range AR player that's holding down the points, but you rarely see it coming out. I like the fact that we're seeing the Tempest come out here. You can find a lot of actual clutch situations to utilize it, as we're looking at it. Ooh, a nice little stun here. A 3-on-2 situation is favoring RIT Black, but that is lasting forever. As I believe he had Engineer on. I didn't get a chance to take a look at it. So RIT Black able to find the trades after that word. And again, big concussion coming through. All of a sudden, RIT Black with their first lead.
And one thing I want to point out right now was RIT Black's resilience after that first map. It might have not gone the way they wanted to, but they're showing some fire right here in this S&D, and they made a lot of good plays already coming out.
Yeah. And again, you go down 2-0 early, and it seems like things start to get a little bit dire, but again, you just turn things around by having one good round, set up a couple of specialists, and you can see it at the top of your screen. Specialist economy, when you take a look at it, just generally speaking, if you were to average it out, does favor RIT Black. Although the only specialist that could potentially be used in this round will be that Tempest for possibly Indian Gamer. We're also close to Ari and a War Machine. It looks like it will be a B hit for RIT Black.
And I wanted to see if he's going to decide to pop this Tempest here. He's going to spot one, getting traded out right away. Unfortunately for the caster's curse right there.
I mean, you hate to see it. I mean, that's what... I wish there was some kind of a scientific background for the caster's curse, because it always tends to happen when you least want it to. We are seeing a little bit of a gunfight happening over the middle. No kills off of it, so still looking at a 4-on-4. Although players getting very low, back and forth. Finally, we'll see one for RIT Black fall, so numbers advantage for the defenders of Rutgers. But plenty of time to play with here, and you can see, based on how RIT Black is setting up, there's pretty much everybody in the middle. We have one player just kind of hanging out towards B, but looks like the bomb wants to try to lean a little bit more closer to A, at least to try to find some information. And this is not going to be any more successful than your last hit. Wow, good little shoulder peek there. Able to find a lot of information is Ty, and he will be able to back up with his life still in hand too.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that little shoulder peek gets his team all the information. They know what's going to be a hit. Everybody just get the rotation there. Make sure they can lock it down. And now it looks like there's going to be swarming.
Not looking so great this round. A little bit of a dire situation, but Bear Paws will turn right for one. Looking for a second, has to heal in the middle of it. Turns out to try to get the left hook coming through, but not looking so much like Muhammad Ali there. And he will be stung down like a butterfly, I suppose, in some fashion. 4-4. I don't know where I was going with that, J-Pro. Let's ignore I said it.
It's all good.
Yeah, I guess I was going for it was looking more like a butterfly, less like a bee. That's what I should have said if I was really quick on the wits here.
Have to agree, but I gotta say, I was kind of surprised that somebody from Rutgers didn't just try to run away with less than 5 seconds left, make sure they couldn't get a bomb plant down. Really not sure why RIT Black didn't really try to go for it. They had 2 players up, maybe one tries to watch one way and they plant kind of safe, but either way, and it looks like the TAC 5 is going to be invested into round number 9. Looks like it's going to be a big hit towards mid.
I like using the TAC 5 on offense more than anything else, just simply because you do have the ability to get a little bit more aggressive. It already turns into 1 kill and now a lot of control on the map. Just look at it. It's just insane to see how far pushed everybody is from the side of Rutgers. Nice response, though. Able to find 1 kill in trade, so we're looking at a 4-on-3 situation as I finish my sentence.
Yeah, and RIT Black slowed down a lot. Oh, and almost gets turned on. Ignite losing, able to win that gunfight.
Now you're looking at a really tough turn, and at some point you have to consider, if you're RIT Black, if you can find 1 more kill. Oh, never mind. I was about to say, if you find 1 more kill, do you possibly expend one of the specialists to try to turn this round around? And not going to be the case whatsoever. And now we're looking at match point. This would be 2-0 for Rutgers if they could find 1 more, but they're going to be going up against a lot of specialists. And again, my question comes, are they aware enough to know that this War Machine is close? Will we see some TAC switches, or pardon me, some TAC back switches into a flak jacket? And again, it could be all the difference.
Yeah, it's those really high IQ plays coming out of teams that are going to separate them from the middle of the pack. Let's do a quick run through. It looks like we do see 1 flag come out, 2 flag, and no perk 1 at all. So, maybe not recognizing the War Machine ever so close.
And for Lou, he's getting aggressive, but we do have a trophy system utilized, so he's going to give himself a lot of space here, and actually just trying to enable Ari as that trophy system's there to counter anything else to come out and respond. Although now we're seeing Robstro with the Annihilator, and now there is a flak jacket on point, at least closer to B. So Ari not finding a lot of value out of the War Machine. And all of a sudden, RIT Black plays a little bit patiently. They're able to find a couple of kills, and now it's up to Rob. Can he turn this one around and find a big life differential?
And one thing I got to note, he's got so little time left on this Annihilator, and only able to find 1 kill, but they do get the bomb down, so that's going to be incredibly important here.
Yeah. Now we're just looking at a situation of how do you retake, or do you even try to retake at this point? I mean, no one's really close, I would say, to score streaks. Maybe Rob, potentially, after having the Annihilator, but, you know, obviously having lost that last round, he's just sitting on 2. So now Ty pushing through, wants to play the underneath, and he was able to find 1 last shot that he needed as it was getting a little bit close. The ICR from behind, though, not able to find it. So we're going to go to round 11 here. And again, we have a couple specialists left, but you have to think this has been favoring the offense the last couple of rounds. Things looking good for RIT Black to swing things potentially.
Incredibly so, especially since Rutgers did use both of their Tempest and their War Machine, and maybe the Annihilator was popped. I wasn't exactly sure, but I do know the Tempest and the War Machine was popped.
Lou's still holding on to it. Oh, you have to think after his heroics from the first map that he'll likely find something in form of a tale to tell here in round 11.
Oh, this is great. Look at the blind counter that's already developed. They're pushing towards the A side, but Lou and the Annihilator has already gone towards this B side. This is almost a perfect blind counter.
Yeah, and you just have to get the information, rotate as fast as humanly possible. The War Machine being popped for Snoobs, or Shoops rather, pardon me. I apologize. No eliminations at the back end of it. Flak Jacket, you can see already being used. And all 6 bullets in the chamber have been popped, and now all of a sudden, without that there, no zoning whatsoever, trying to spam through the railing. We'll be able to find one, but that's a good grab slide to come back in. Now the Annihilator's finding a tune, and it's going to be good enough to take down a bunch. And that'll be it. That's all she wrote in round 11. Lou with the heroics, able to find himself 3. And that'll be enough for round 11 and the map going the way of Rutgers, up 2-0.
Yeah, really, I thought that was going to favor RIT Black. They had 3 specialists coming up, but Lou able to put the Annihilator to some great work right there, and Rutgers going to be up 2-0 in this series.
Looking solid. Again, I don't want to just shout out one player in particular, but Lou definitely has been the standout both in the hard point as well as how he's opened things up and allowed his team to rotate around with the ICR gameplay here on Search and Destroy. So he's definitely, for me, a player to keep your eye on. Although, that being said, RIT Black, a full team effort came on through. They looked solid for a lot of those rounds defensively, had a number, of nice pushes on offense. So you look at Control, you very possibly can swing this one back. It just comes down to, for me, can they get that assault pressure on when they are on offense? Their defense has looked pretty solid so far. You can kind of see across the board. I mean, damage numbers pretty comparable, with one exception. We'll just leave that as it stands. And but regardless, I think that if you're RIT Black, you can't lose faith here. You went round 11 with a really solid team, and there's nothing to say that you can't swing this Control and find the momentum back in your favor if you can get to a round 4, or map 4, rather.
Exactly. It's all going to come out of this Control. I think, personally, with Black Ops 4, the way the game modes have been laid out, Control is the swing game for a lot of teams. If you're able to take the Control, might be able to spiral something into that map 4 and potentially get us to a game 5. But right now, we're going to take a look at the series overview. Rutgers taking those 2 maps, already up 2-0. But we got to see if they're able to swing back. The map is going to be Arsenal Control. So who do you think favors after you've seen these first 2 maps?
For me, Arsenal is, I would say, probably the most difficult Control, simply because of where capture point A is located. It's inside, and it's on the defensive side, favorably towards, at least, obviously, leaning towards the defensive side. And it just comes down to, if you lose one gunfight in there, all of a sudden, that middle Control is almost nearly impossible to, just simply because you get sound cues. Those double doors are really easy to tell through. You're going to have to crouch through the vents. The windows break. There's a lot of sound cues, a lot of really easy choke points. It's very difficult to break into A. So for me, I think if you're looking at Rutgers, they found a lot of success off their SOG gameplay. Dive on in there. See if you can find yourself an early Control over towards bombs or control point A. If you're RIT Black, though, you need to rely on winning a couple of trades, finding some favor over the middle portion of the map, and hopefully you can find some close proximal control over B if that does end up being where the point does end up being pushed.
Absolutely going to have to agree with you there. Well, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We got Rutgers up 2 over RIT Black. However, going into the Control, potential swing game mode. Let's see if RIT Black's able to extend this to a map 4. If Rutgers is going to take the series home 3-0. Be back in just a moment. And we're going to be back for map number 3, Arsenal Control. We're going to see if Rutgers is going to close the series out right now. I say that as soon as we do this. Unfortunate.
Once, twice, 3 times a restart. I mean, come on, it had to happen. I don't know why we would expect anything differently. Let's be honest here, J-Pro.
I know. Sometimes I think I'm just about to get lucky in life, and then got to do another restart, unfortunately.
The ultimate debate. If we don't see just a wall of debates in chat, I'm severely disappointed, because let's be honest, that's about as well as we feel right now. It's just big haha looking hot.
Yeah. Man, I tell you what, sometimes I think we're ready, right? They message me, all right, we're good to go. Let's start the lobby up. Never there. We'll get there though.
It's just the way it goes, man. It's just this is Call of Duty in a nutshell. If this is your first competitive Call of Duty, what we see at the beginning of every single round is that. It's just the way it goes. It's just that's competitive Call of Duty at its finest. You love to see it, really. It's just a staple, pastime.
Yeah, somebody had to go. Somebody needs to, you know, do something quickly, whatever it may be. Never there, even though they're in the lobby.
Feels bad.
Yeah, we got Arsenal Control coming up, and honestly, I'm not really sure who I think is going to take this one. I know Rutgers has been on a roll, but I really think RIT Black's starting to wake up. They played great in that S&D, and they really started to make a good comeback in that hard point.
Yeah.
I just want to see if the momentum's going to roll over into this Control, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, we've seen how many times that a team's gone up 2-0 and then they lose their composure on Control and all of a sudden it's a reverse sweep. I mean, it's so common, it doesn't feel like it's that much of a fantasy to believe that that could potentially come true for RIT Black. I mean, again, a talented team, Lou's having himself one hell of a night, but you start to shut him down, you start to win a couple of gunfights, get in his head a little bit, all of a sudden things can very well be flipped the other way around.
Yeah, and it looks like the lobby actually has started up, hopefully for the last time for this map
Crossing
anyway.
fingers.
Going on over to that. And yeah, this time let's kick it off with Rutgers in this scenario.
Right. Yeah, no killing off the bat. Things looking solid. Always the second time's the charm when it comes to starting up games.
And it looks like it's just going to be an A hit from RIT right now. All 5 players towards this mid area, and Rob's just going to find the first pick.
Again, these opening gunfights here, J-Pro, so big, especially when it comes to potentially losing point A first, but not on Rutgers' watch. They're able to find a lot of trades. One more player left in the hard point. That's going to be, or pardon me, the control point. That's going to be enough to set things up. And I don't know if I like that trophy system. It's a little bit out in the open, but it will allow him to play Cafe in the Steiner area a little bit harder just because he can back up and not be under the potential fear of being concussed.
And one thing I did like about that push right there is they recognize they got a whole team wipe. They can push up, try to get some of these spawners coming off, and maybe favor the life pool in their advantage.
Yeah, and that's huge. The early advantage is so important, not only because obviously you have more lives to play with, but you get to start to put the control of the map in your favor, and all of a sudden you start to secure this last 35 seconds rather convincingly, and you put a lot of pressure on RIT Black to make a play. Someone has to open up a point, someone has to find those opening picks, and you can already see, oh, there it is. That's potential right there to go for B, as you do see Lou getting out-traded by the ICR of Bearpaws. Able to find another two. My goodness, those shots are absolutely locked in. Does he know players in the vent? Able to get concussed from that side, and nobody checks it. Unfortunately, though, it is turned into 1 kill, so the point capture on B will start to tick up.
Exactly, and it looks like RIT Black only down 2 lives in the life pool. What looked like it should have been a little bit different after that opening wipe. They've managed to bring it back just a little bit, but it looks like Rutgers is already pushing them, getting a little bit of map control.
Again, you have to wonder with the 22 seconds, I mean, how far will you let this go? I mean, the capture percentage is moving in both directions, at least it was at one point in time, and at a certain point, if you're Rutgers, you just have to give away 1 point and just set up for another, because all of a sudden these lives could very well not be in your favor. Talk about letting the lead just get out of hand. And not only that, it's on A of all things, J-Pro. So now it just comes down to playing this thing like you would SND on the bomb side at B. You have to try to find rotations over the lobby. Make sure you're not going to get pinched from anywhere. There's a lot of long angles. You can already see 2 players on the minimap. Bearpaws and Robshaw are already trying to make some kind of a big flank happen to lock down B.
Yeah, one thing I like right now is RIT trying to get a pinch going, trying to get a little bit of map control for the team. They can get a coordinated attack going. It might be an interesting gunfight nonetheless.
Do they know that this last player's back here? Holy, if they have this info that Lou's back here, oh my goodness, what a huge win. Looking for a way to kind of flip things around, but go, the rotation coming on back with the Maddox able to train in on those last 2 players. That would have been a very detrimental spot for Rutgers. They would have been completely swarmed. The lightning strike able to open up the point, but there's not really much of a follow-up on it as far as who's actually stepping on point B. So for all intents and purposes, J-Pro, that lightning just kind of wasted at that time.
I gotta agree with you there. Absolutely wasted. Not a coordinated team push able to come up right after that. And honestly, Rutgers just holding them back right now with 27 seconds left, and they're up 4 lives in the pool. It's looking like Rutgers might take this first round unless something crazy happens.
They do get 1 kill, so 5 on 4 as we approach the point, but the flank comes through. The Saga's good from Lou to find 1, so now all of a sudden no respawns left for RIT Black, and the time is not at all in their favor, acting as if there was another member of Rutgers on the field. And look at this, just able to trade away the jumping shots. Well found there for Indian Gamer as he continues to find himself a lot of success up close, and no real chance whatsoever for RIT Black. Rutgers will lock down the first defense 1-0.
Yeah, right there, just some great plays coming out of Rutgers, recognizing that they were up in the life pool and just playing a little conservative. RIT Black still impressed with their recognition of the player that was sitting in the back and able to pick up that kill. Could have been a great push for them. Unfortunately, just doesn't become anything.
I don't know what the call was. I would love to hear it at some point in time of why Lou was playing so passively in their spawn. But beyond that, the two players from RIT Black that pushed through to try to find him, I mean, that was a very interesting exchange in the middle portion of that round. Any way that gunfight went, if it would have favored RIT Black, that would have been a very open spot there to hit B. But Rutgers able to turn around, get the information, trade away both of those lives, and it essentially becomes a moot point at that time. So now we're looking at the attack from Rutgers. Opening first blood will actually favor them as well, and it looks like they want to hit A right off the bat, Pro.
Yeah, and it looks like Shuby is going to be trying to post up, but all of the kills are going in favor of Rutgers. 3 go their way. It's all up to Shuby to hold down the hill, and he's not going to be able to.
And that's, again, you would love to see some kind of success early off when it comes to this point being broken open. Defensively, you just hate to see point A go that quickly. There's really nothing you can do about it at this point, although the SOG does open up for 2, and wow, what an aggressive challenge that was. One more from the side to try to hit Lobby, but in the middle of a reload, and all of a sudden, I say it, you know, it's a tough retake, but RIT Black able off the SOG gameplay, find a couple of eliminations, actually a full team wipe coming through, so now all of a sudden this point A capture gets depleted, and we're looking at a pretty even game.
Yeah, not sure if I agree with that push right there from Rostro, pushing up with the ICR. He might have gotten some bad timing there, but a couple of kills are going in favor of Rutgers, so we'll see if that team wipe is able to help out.
A lot of trades happening back and forth once again as A continues to be the point of contest, but again, it just comes out to RIT Black. Can you find a way in? Do you use anything to break this? It would be nice to get a pretty definitive map or round 2 in your favor. You'd hate to see this thing go 2-0. But there is only 40 seconds left. A minute, of course, will be added as soon as that point gets hit. So a minute 42 and counting down from that value. As look at this play for Rutgers, just completely swinging around the left side of the map respectively for them. And all of a sudden, this is catching RIT Black completely off guard. Although I say that, and the respawns will be likely good enough as they will just kind of fend off the rest of that flank.
Yeah, luckily enough for them, the respawn's gonna be able to pick up just enough as they hold off for the moment, and all of Rutgers back on spawn. Already pushed up, however, and it looks like the TAC-5 was popped for RIT Black, and 3 players are gonna be stunned here.
For a considerable amount of time, if you're Indian Gamer, he's sitting in a haze of delirium for a moment, and unfortunately, he will not be able to survive through it. As now look at this, RIT Black trying to come on through to just clean everything up. They'll be able to get themselves that defensive hold on the back end of that TAC-5. And the bigger news is the fact that 3 of those players still retaining the 200 HP. That's going to result in them not having to commit potentially any more specialists towards this. What a spot this is for Bear Paws. How about you line up? Why don't you? 2 easily. Looking for potentially the 3rd challenge. Has to reload midway through, and the ICR will be trained in and taking him down.
Yeah, and that was excellent positioning right there. The team able to get some great damage done. Unfortunately, not able to bait and switch with his teammate there, but gets a couple of kills, lowers the life pool of Rutgers, makes this more manageable. With only 30 seconds left, he might have just done enough.
Do you use anything at this point for Rutgers? You've got all 5 specialists, I mean, pretty much ready to go, and this hit from Lobby looks to be pretty successful as they are able to trade away a couple. So do you use anything here? The Grab Slam used this to counter. I love that call. Just keep things even. Although Lou is on the point, the capture percentage is slow because he is essentially by himself. Well, you have one other player there. Palma is sitting in the corner just trying to play that double stairs angle. Now the rest of the team for Rutgers are coming through. Now for RIT Black, you need to find a way to win a fight. And it's just not going their way at all in the kill feed. It's just down to Ari to try to contest things. And looks like with 15 seconds left, RIT Black might just hold on to this. And without having to spend much, that's actually not too terrible.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if anybody from Rutgers can even get back with 6 seconds left. He doesn't have the grapple available. Oh, it's going to be so close. They're able to break it. Oh, thought they were able to break it in just the last seconds there, but I guess not.
Very close. I mean, of course, I think Shuby actually popped up the war machine at one point in time in that exchange. Didn't really find anything off the back end of it, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, for RIT Black, you almost set yourselves up for a very highly successful defense, and it still ended up going your way, but again, just narrowly. We thought someone definitely touched the point at the end, but didn't end up happening. So as we look at round number 3, all these specialists that are glowing nicely for Rutgers, you expect to see some of those off the gun.
I gotta agree there. We see that on the other side of RIT Black, the Grab Slam and the TAC-5 were both invested, able to pick up a round, luckily, but things got a little bit dicey there in the end. Ari is gonna pop the war machine.
Yeah, as Shubi didn't use this war machine, the UI was just glitched over from when he died, so I wasn't sure if he had popped it and instantly died, but he does have it, so apologies for that. And as you look at Ari, he's able to lock down so much with this war machine. Just peek and you're gone. No flak jacket on hand, and that's a lot of kills going the way of Rutgers early. You'd figure at this point, having a full team wipe there, they want to just run on through, find some aggressive zoning, gets a couple kills off spawn. This thing will push snowball a little bit in your favor.
Yeah, and these tight doorways that they have to push through are just so incredibly hard, and it looks like Rutgers is already pushed up and getting these spawn kills.
Hate to see it. And again, just a lot of specialists still utilized as Lou will pop out the Annihilator. A little bit of insult to injury, although he's getting contested, a little bit of crossfire happening. It will be able to take him down, so not the full effectiveness that you'd like to see out of that Annihilator. Not able to pull out his inner Crowder, I suppose, as that was that pretty fancy play from PLQ where he just absolutely spawn camped everybody with the Annihilator. Not going to be the case here.
But on the plus side, Rutgers is already up 9 lives in the pool, and with 15 seconds left, it's all on RIT Black to try to make a push. And they're just getting shut down right now, having to walk through these tight corridors. There's just nothing they can do.
Yeah, you can't hit A right there if you're RIT Black. You've got no time. You don't have the control. You can't go A. You have to try to find some success over towards B, and at this point, it's just a moot point. A very easy round for Rutgers, not having to use hardly anything whatsoever. Goodness, you hate to see that from RIT Black. Definitely backs up against the wall going into this round 4.
Yeah, and especially with so many specialists, I believe, still available. I think we only saw the War Machine and the Annihilator come out right there.
Yeah, I think so.
A lot of specialists in play.
Yeah, if I were a betting man J-Pro, which I am, I think all my chips are going towards Rutgers to close this one out, depending on how these specialists go. Not trying to give any caster favoritism by any stretch, but the cards are just so stacked against them at this point. I mean, you are going to look at it. Tempest available, Grab Slam available, Tech 5 available. Although Shubi, that being said, does have himself a War Machine, so that Tech 5 boost, if it is recognized early, Shubi can turn this thing around very quickly on the back end of his War Machine.
And it looks like it's just going to be this hit towards the A bomb site again.
You have to with Tech 5, right? I mean, that just seems like the call. And with the Grab Slam too, oh my goodness. That's just nasty.
Add insult to injury. It looks like A might already be gone. 1 tick already gone. Holding down these choke points.
Even one player in the vent will be able to find one, but that's an ICR. It's not a fight you're going to win much more of. And the saw gameplay up close will actually favor RIT Black, so all of a sudden things looking good. Indian Gamer falling. Has not popped the Tempest yet, so the retake is good. Depletion will leave it at just, I believe, 2 ticks on the marker. So not the worst case scenario defensively, and it looks like it's going to be another hit towards A, and now it's going to be the Indian Gamer pulling out the Tempest, finding himself 1, but that's all. So now we're looking at an even gunfight happening over A. Still in contest. Again, just 2 ticks of progress made so far. And Ari, one of the last players left, just got peeled for so long from that concussion. And
one thing I want to notice is that Ari does have both the Lightning Strike and the Hellstorm. If they're able to cap A, holding B for RIT Black is going to be so incredibly difficult. Especially with that Sniper's Nest already raining down above. It's looking tough for RIT Black, that's all I'll say.
TD Renna, though, does have the Tempest out. That channel for as long as possible. Paula trying to win a very awkward Saw gunfight. We'll just ignore that happened on screen for a second. Result of it was a win for Rutgers, and it looks like, yeah, you called it. And now just a split hit. I like this a lot from Rutgers. You're already close to capturing A. Let's just put a body on B. Try to split the defensive focus as much as possible. And all of a sudden, it looks like A will be at least supplanted for a moment. But the progress that B does split up the defense. And now all of a sudden, if you can find those trades, not able to quite get there. And Rutgers was in a position to potentially swing this one very quickly. But you see it. Sniper's Nest in play. That's going to make things very difficult for RIT Black.
Well, looks like it should have been around for them. It's actually becoming incredibly close, just contesting the hill. They're going to find 1, they're going to find 2 in the hill, but the player from Vents is going to be able to pick up a couple. And RIT Black with a big team wipe coming in with 12 seconds left. Rutgers have to make a play.
There's no way he can be allowed to do that from Vent with an ICR. The Annihilator comes out. Oh, did he take a shot with it? Don't know if it fully came all the way through. Will he retain that charge? It looked like he was still in the animation. Looks like, yes, he did actually utilize. There's only half of that being retained, and just 2 seconds left on the clock. A might just be captured, but you have to try to find a way to contest this potentially for RIT Black. Not going to happen. An extra minute in the bank, and now you see those score streaks. Will they decide to utilize these? The lives are pretty close. It's turning into mostly a search and destroy map at this point. 50 seconds left to play with here for Rutgers.
If I'm Rutgers right here, I say just save the streak, see if you can win it right now. As you are pretty close on the life count.
Yikes. Not looking so great. This side, it's just a lot of trades back and forth, and you, again, still have those score streaks available. 1 tick of progress at B, but at this point, it just seems to go down to lives games. It just comes down to who can find the team deathmatch success. Trades, of course, would favor that of the defense, you would think. Trophy system in the corner. RIT Black trying to play this one close to the chest.
And Ignite,
again, just trades back.
Ignite Lou might have a great pinch coming in. He's able to hit the shots. He's going to find one in the hill. And there's only one player left. That's going to be Bear Paws. He's going to be sitting lobby.
Talk about your good old-fashioned 1v1 J-Pro. You love to see it.
Exactly. Again, he used the Assault Pact about halfway there for the B site. Bear Paws has to make the play.
It just comes down to how long will you peek this. Do you have the information to see he's on the right side? Not going to find it. Not going to check his corners. You have to. Lou wins the gunfight. Rutgers take it 3-1, 3-0 in the set. They'll walk away with a victory here in their first match of the CCL Season 1.
Yeah, honestly, right there, RIT Black played a pretty good control, to be honest. They had a lot of good things going for them. Unfortunately, a couple players got a little streaky. Some specialists didn't go in their favor, but all in all, RIT Black had signs of life in that series, I will say.
They absolutely did, and you can't say that you're going to walk away with the loss, obviously. But there's a lot to learn from it, I think, as you go back and take a look back at the footage. Whether it's in theater mode or just from the cast itself. I mean, there were these close moments. One more gunfight goes your way, all of a sudden we're looking at a totally different storyboard. But let's just talk about how appropriate it would be for Lou to find that final kill. He was clutching the hard point, clutching the search and destroy. Naturally, he comes up with the last 1v1 victory to secure it for Rutgers here in control. Yeah,
and it wasn't like Lou had like an incredible control game to begin with, but able to do just enough for his squad, be able to clutch up that 1v1 situation, and Rutgers just take the series 3-1. I think. Go for it.
As an ICR player, you're probably not going to be involved so much when it comes to capturing, when it comes to that point, especially when it comes to capture point A. So still does 4,200 damage, a little bit under that. Still pops just about almost everybody in the side of RIT Black. And at the end of the day, you look at this squad for Rutgers, and it's been that storyline the entire day. It just has been, everyone's been very close. Everyone's been pretty much hand in hand when it comes to where the damage lies. It looks like a full team. They're playing very cohesively. You have to look, good looks for Rutgers, I would say, here in this first setup.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. Rutgers showing on stream that they're not to be messed with, I'd have to say. Played a pretty solid hard point. S&D got a little bit closer in the end, but a pretty solid control also. So, really, all in all, got to give kudos to RIT Black. They played their hearts out in this series. Showed some signs of life. Showed some things that they aren't a bad team. They got a couple of things to work on, however. But all in all, that's what I think's gonna be happening.
That's how this chapter will be written. Rutgers walks away with the 3-0 at the end of the day. RIT Black left with the goose egg. But of course, tons of Call of Duty to be played. The season spanning all the way until April with 2 matches a week. Pretty much a setup where you can play one, things don't go your way, you can run it back, and then a couple days later, see if you can find some success. And of course, obviously, we talked about the standards that we were kind of expecting for RIT Black. Have some work to do as far as matching up in their pool. But regardless, they had, again, moments that were not so bad whatsoever. They definitely have a lot that they can work with. It just comes down to tuning it all up and making sure it's performance ready for Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely. Great match overall. But don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to be back in just a few moments. We're going to be having Georgia Southern University up against Liberty Red. Liberty Red, a squad that people have been fearing. They have some slayers on their team. Got a lot of good strategies as well in their S&D game. And Georgia Southern, the reigning Season 0 champions with a new addition for, this change to 5v5. We're going to see the Battle of the Titans go out in this next series. We'll be back in just a few moments for that, so don't go anywhere.